Hi, Brian here from KL Tech, and today we're going to be covering the basic operation and call transferring with the Cisco SPA line of phones using the 3CX phone system. In today's example, we are going to be using the SPA 504G, which is one of the most popular models that we install, but these instructions will apply pretty much to any phone on the SPA line. First, we're going to go through the hard buttons, which are located on the bottom right here of the phone. The elongated button with the hand is our hold button. Below that, we have our volume control. When the phone is in an idle state, as it is now, the volume control will control the ringer volume. Note that after you make an adjustment to the ringer, you have to hit save. If you're on an active call, this will control the volume of the call. Here we have our speakerphone button. Above that we have a headset button if your phone has a headset attached. And above that we have the mute button. If the LED is red, the caller on the other end of the line cannot hear you. Above that we have the menu button, which we'll cover in detail in another video. And there we have the voicemail access button. On the upper right of the phone over here, we have the line buttons. In most configuration, these buttons will indicate the maximum number of calls you can take. The first call will come in on the first button, second call, second one, so on and so forth. The buttons right now are green to indicate an idle state. If we were to receive a call, we'll get a fast flashing. When we are on that call, we will get a solid red. If that call is on hold, we'll get a slow red flashing. Okay, and over here we have what they refer to as the soft buttons. They're called the soft buttons because their functions change depending on what you're doing with the phone. In our current idle state, we have a redial where we can choose a recent call we made and call them back. We have a directory, which we'll cover in another video. We have the call forward, where we could forward all our calls to a cell phone, for example, and the DND, or do not disturb button, if we don't want to be bothered. In the bottom right hand of the screen, you'll notice there's a little arrow pointing to the right. That indicates that there are more functions that we can't currently see. To access those functions, we use the menu pad down here. We would hit to the right. In this case, that's the LCR button, which is another form of redial. Alright, to initiate a call, there are generally two ways. The first is to choose the method you want to make the call by, either the handset, the speakerphone, or the headset. So let's go ahead and hit the headset. Now you notice the soft buttons change because now we're in the dial mode. So say we start dialing and we make a mistake. Well, we can go ahead and hit the delete character to go back one character. If we want to start fresh, we can go ahead and hit clear and start dialing again. In these systems, you generally always dial the area code and you don't dial the 1. There are several exceptions with 888 numbers or 800 numbers where you might need to dial the 1. Okay, so when we're on a call, again, the soft buttons are going to change. Right now I'd like to point out the two forms of transferring. There's the blind transfer, which is labeled as BX transfer, or the attended transfer, which is labeled as XFR. So let's go through conceptually the blind transfer. So in this example, we have an outside caller who calls in. Receptionist takes the call, and this caller asks for an executive. Now, in this case, we know the executive wants to take this call right away. So we go ahead and blind transfer it to that person. Pretty much after we blind transfer, we're out of the loop, and that call is ringing on the executive's phone. If the executive doesn't pick it up, it goes into his voicemail. So let's go ahead and walk through that on the phone here. So we're going to simulate an outside call coming in. We're going to go ahead and answer it with our headset. Person's asked for executive. We know the executive wants to take this call, so we go ahead and we blind transfer. Put the extension number in, hit dial. Now the executive's phone is ringing. We can at this point grab the call back by hitting resume, but as soon as the executive picks up the phone, we're out of the loop and the call's connected. Now the second type of transfer is the attended transfer. So in this example, again, we have an outside caller who calls in, receptionist takes the call, this person asks for a certain executive. We don't know if the person wants to take, the executive wants to take that call or not. So we hit the attended transfer or XFR on the phone. And what happens at this point is the outside caller gets put on hold and we get connected to the executive. And then we can ask the executive, do you want to take this call or not? If they do want to take it, we go ahead and hit XFR or join, depending on the phone, and the call is completed. So let's walk through that on the phone. So we have an outside call coming in. We answer it. The person asks for a certain executive. We're not sure if they want to take the call, so we're going to use the XFR. We're going to dial that executive's extension, and we always hit the dial button after we dial. So the executive picks up the call, and we announce it. Now the executive says, yes, I'd like to take that call. We hit XFR. On certain phones this may say join, but on most phones it says XFR, and this will go ahead and put the call through. If the executive does not want to take the call, we go ahead and hit end call at this point. Now, we're not on the phone with the executive anymore, but you'll notice the phone's blinking up here to show the original call is on hold. We can pick up that call again and ask them to leave a message. So that covers the basic operation and transferring a call with a Cisco SPA phone and a 3CX phone system. This pair creates a very scalable, flexible, and powerful system, but from the end user's perspective, it's very feature rich. We're going to be exploring many of these features in this video series. Thank you for watching.